In today's video, we're talking about how convenient is Disney World when you live next door.
Hey everyone, Dan and Leslie back again for another video about moving to Orlando, aka Disney World. So if you're new to the channel, welcome, thanks for checking us out. We are a family of four that moved our kids down here almost a year ago now, getting pretty close. We're gonna do a year video soon.
Well, it actually has been over a year since we did our first move. So we moved in two segments.
True.
So it's been a year since the first one.
But we haven't lived here full time for a year yet.
Yep.
Okay. We started a travel agency that specializes in Disney Universal cruises, so we figure it makes sense to be here where everything is so that we can stay up to date and be in the parks as much as possible. And so one of the things that crossed our mind a lot was how convenient will it really be if we're moving to Orlando to be in Disney World? If you're living next door, it should be pretty convenient, right?
Should be. But before we get into the nitty-gritty of how convenient it is, if you are liking these videos, please hit that like and subscribe button so that you don't miss the next one.
We knew that if it wasn't going to be convenient for us, we wouldn't go. And owning a travel agency specializing in Disney, if we wouldn't go, that's a huge problem. If you were moving to be close to Disney World so you can go to Disney World, you want to know how convenient it's going to be to actually physically get to the parks, right?
Since this was literally why we were moving here, that was super important for us.
So we live, as the crow flies, about 2 miles northeast of Cinderella Castle. So we are literally right next door. And you would think that would make it super convenient to go to the parks all the time.
Right?
Yes and no. So let's look at this a little bit closer.
So first, there are the logistics of actually getting to the theme parks, right? So Magic Kingdom is by far the closest park to us. However, it is the hardest one to get into. And it's funny, that is actually the one that I thought we would spend the most time at whenever we moved here, but it's really what we spend the least time at because it is so hard to navigate getting in.
So even as the crow flies being so close to Cinderella Castle, we still have to go around things. There's a lot of conservation here, a lot of lakes in this area. And so you have to go around those bodies of water, around the big plots of trees and woods and all of that. And then once you finally get on Disney property, you have to physically make it to not Magic Kingdom, but the TTC, because you can't park at Magic Kingdom. So the way we have to go around the north side of Magic Kingdom, on the west side of Magic Kingdom, past Magic Kingdom, do a U-turn on World Drive, and then come back north into the main gate of Magic Kingdom. That's the only way to get to the TTC. Once you're through that gate, you park at the TTC, which again, is not Magic Kingdom. It is a cross Seven Seas Lagoon. Once you go through security, that whole business, and then you can either ride a ferry, ride a monorail, or walk all the way around, which is a little over 2 miles, which we do frequently, actually.
We do often.
So it is an ordeal. I mean, we literally 2 miles from Cinderella Castle, it takes at least 45 minutes to get from our house into the Magic Kingdom.
Epcot is the second closest park to us, and it's actually much more convenient for us to get into, so we go there more often because you literally drive to Epcot and you park in a parking lot and you walk straight into the park.
Probably next would be Animal Kingdom. That park is actually the farthest away from us, but you can skirt Disney property on the perimeter north side and west side and come in the west entrance gate to Disney World, and Animal Kingdom is right there. So it is the farthest park away, but the third most convenient. Then the least convenient park is Hollywood Studios. You can park in the parking lot at Hollywood Studios, and honestly, it's usually the closest in terms of walking from parking space to the main gate of Hollywood Studios, but it's kind of in the center south of Disney World property, and because we live north of Disney World property, you have to go through all of Disney World property with all of their whole driving regulations to physically get to Hollywood Studios.
Disney Springs, this is where we actually wanted the most convenient access to so that we could literally go anytime we wanted, and that's exactly what we got. It is really, really convenient for us to drive kind of some of the back roads. We can be to Disney Springs in about 10 or 12 minutes and in a parking lot, and it's perfect. All that to say, just the transportation alone adds about anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes onto the day, because depending on how far out in the parking lot you have to park and which park we're going to and all of that, it adds up.
Second thing in terms of convenience for these parks specifically are the park pass reservations that I mentioned. So all 4 parks require park pass reservations. This is new post-COVID. Not only do you need a park ticket, you have to reserve your spot to use your ticket at the park. And so for annual pass holders like us, it is convenient, sort of, because we know how to use the system, but we are limited to 5 park pass reservations at a time. And so that is both it presents a challenge and isn't super convenient in the fact that if we know we have to be in a park for something like a special event, a grand opening, or meeting someone, we want to secure that so that spot does not disappear, but you can't secure really more than 4 because then you can't ever get into a park until that first one happens. So, it's kind of if you have more than 4 things that you really want to do, you've got to like go one at a time, and it becomes this kind of logistical nightmare with making park pass reservations.
We've definitely been at that moment where we're like, we want to go, but we have all of them tied up. So which one is the least likely if we dropped it and then went that we could get it back?
Like if you're planning weeks in advance, I rarely see parks that are sold out of park pass reservations, but we went to Magic Kingdom the other day. We were gonna do like a last minute, we were actually doing the walking thing, like just for exercise, and we were gonna pop into Magic Kingdom, see if there was anything at the Emporium that we couldn't live without. And we tried to make a park pass reservation and they were sold out for that day. So it really does not make the last minute pop into a park thing that used to be very fun for locals to do for annual pass holders. It doesn't make that convenient at all.
Doesn't park hopping make things more convenient, especially for us annual pass holders, because we automatically have park hopping rolled into our annual pass? Sort of. So you can't park hop until after 2 p.m. and you have to scan into the first park that you have scheduled for that day. So regardless, if you're wanting to go to a certain park and say that park doesn't have availability, then I suppose you could schedule for a different park, go scan into that park, and then after 2 p.m. you could park hop over to whatever park it is that you're wanting to go to.
To take the example that I just gave, when we were doing that exercise, number one, it was well before 2 p.m. It was in the morning, so that would not have worked for park hopping. So we would have had to change our day around and done the exercise in the afternoon. Number two, we would have to scan into something else. So the closest thing to Magic Kingdom is Epcot. So we'd have to like go park at Epcot, scan into Epcot, take the monorail over to the TTC, then walk up to Magic Kingdom, go in Magic Kingdom after park hopping opens, and then walk back to the TTC, and then monorail back over to Epcot. Or park at Epcot, go scan in, go back to the car, then go back and park at the TTC and then do the walk. It's just, it adds one more layer of complexity. Not super convenient with the park pass reservations.
Yeah. Then there's the cost. So if you live close, obviously you're gonna probably want an annual pass, especially if you're wanting to go multiple times a year. And right now, currently, Disney is still only selling the lowest tier, which is the Pixie Dust Pass. And so that's the one that has pretty much every weekend, all holidays are blocked out. So you can only go throughout the weekdays.
If you don't have an annual pass, costs get out of control pretty quickly, honestly. The cost for admission for one day is well over $100 now. And the cost to park is tacked onto that. At least with annual passes, you have the cost of the actual parking rolled into the cost of the annual pass. Mm-hmm. Then you got all the costs that start stacking up once you get into the park. I can think of one time since we've lived here that we have been into a park and not bought anything. I mean, in theory, it sounds good, like just go, hang out, and then leave and don't buy anything or bring your lunch or whatever. And it just...
Maybe we just have terrible self-control.
Maybe that's the problem.
Then there's the time that you'll actually spend at Disney.
We like going for a few hours at a time, but we live super close. So depending on how close you live to the parks, like if you're 45 minutes away, it takes us 45 minutes to get to Magic Kingdom. If you live 45 minutes from here, it's gonna take you well over an hour to get inside Magic Kingdom. Does that make sense for you? Or does it make more sense to spend at least 4, 5, 6 hours, or maybe even a full day if you're coming in from even further out? So, convenience is popping in, popping out, and everything being super easy, and we're kind of going away from that.
The reason you're going is for something specific that has a time. So whether it's a dining reservation, a fireworks show, whatnot, then you may end up finding yourself waiting around for a while for whatever event to happen because you've padded in enough time to get there, or you might find yourself stuck in traffic because that happens in Florida. And then you end up being late.
The other problem that might slow you down once you have actually made it to the park are the crowds. They are very, very crowded. The parks are right now, and they have been since they reopened. And so navigating crowds can be frustrating, but it can also really take a lot of time. So if your plan is to run over there while the kids are at school, stop in for a few hours and then run back and pick up the kids, well, whatever you were able to do when the crowds might be a little bit less, just got cut in half because they're packed right now. Finally, there is real life that actually gets in the way. We own a travel agency that specializes in Disney. So part of our work is actually being in the parks to not only create content to help promote the agency, but also just to stay up to date with what is changing, because stuff changes all the time. And we want to be able to give our clients the best, most up-to-date information so that they can make the most out of their trip. We're in there 2 to 3 times a week. But when you don't own a travel agency specializing in Disney, and whenever you are working for an employer that is in this area, you have to factor all that in as well.
Plug, if you need someone to help you plan your next magical vacation, you can reach out to us at fantasticalvacations.com, and we would love to help. Add in if you have children, they have school, they have after school activities.
Work.
Our oldest has a job where he works 4 nights a week, so we're factoring that in, and he doesn't have a car yet. It is close enough that he can walk to and from, but we try to take him and pick him up as much as possible, so like factoring that into our schedule. So it's all the things.
Hope is not all lost though. So there are some things that we do that make it a little more convenient to get to and from the parks and Disney Springs a little bit easier. There is no just magic wand, I guess is a good reference here. There's just no magic that we can do that makes it 100% fully convenient, but here are some tips and tricks that we suggest for you.
First is to incorporate the parks into your life. So we do that in a couple of different ways. One, we choose to incorporate kind of our workout in a trek around the TTC to Magic Kingdom to Contemporary, and back. Sometimes we'll pop into the park, sometimes we won't. Just kind of depends. And then we also choose to produce content around the thing that we love the most, which is Disney and Universal.
Another thing that we do is we make the logistics on getting to wherever our final destination is, work for us. And what I mean by that is we can use Disney's rules, not to break them, but to our advantage. And so if we're going to Magic Kingdom, we might make a dining reservation at maybe like Grand Floridian or the Contemporary. Steakhouse 71 is a favorite of ours. And you can park, eat, like don't not go to the reservation, you can eat. But then if you're going for a quick little visit, you can walk over to Magic Kingdom, go in as long as you have a park pass reservation, do whatever you need to do, and go back and leave. There is technically a 3-hour time limit on that. We have gone past that a couple of times, and our car has been fine, but I just want to throw that out there. They could enforce that 3-hour time limit on a meal at any point in time. The other thing that we like doing with making logistics work for us is to make the transportation part of the event. And so if we go to the TTC, maybe we jump on the monorail and we do a monorail crawl, and we just take the monorail and we get off at the different resorts, and we'll have a drink or just tour the resorts. Maybe at Christmas time, look at like the gingerbread house, which is awesome over at Grand Floridian. Maybe we have a dining reservation over at one of the Epcot area resorts, maybe like Swan and Dolphin or Boardwalk or Yacht Club or Beach Club or something like that. And then we turn it into a Skyliner crawl, or just pop into the backside of Epcot for a short period of time. Again, keeping in mind that time limit.
Schedule your date night around a trip to Disney. So if you are going out for a date anyway, then why not go to Disney?
Yeah, absolutely. So wherever you're moving from, once you live here, if you're coming here to be in Disney as much as possible like we are, we did stuff outside the house back where we're from, and we just translate the stuff and the time spent outside of the house to being on Disney property. And so when it's just the two of us and maybe the kids are staying here working on homework or whatever, we can go out and go to Disney Springs, do a quick service if we don't have any reservations or anything like that. Polite Pig is one of our favorites. Or if we are going with all 4 of us, maybe for like a weekend day, like a Saturday during the day, we will schedule that a little bit farther out in advance, and that'll be one of those park pass reservations that we make a little further out.
Kind of add on to us planning a trip for all 4 of us, We like to do that whenever maybe it's gonna be like a longer park day. So we'll plan it out where we're planning on spending hours in a park, doing whatever, most of the time we let the kids kind of let us know what they wanna do. And then, or we will do something around special occasions. So maybe the last day of school celebration, or the first day of school celebration, or the last day of summer, whatever it might be, where we kind of go into a park with the intention of a celebration for a little hurrah.
And then the last thing that we do to make it a little more convenient for us is we use the flexibility that we have just built in here by living here that we didn't have before whenever we would come down for like a 6 or 7 day vacation a couple times a year, in that we will schedule times to go when it is least crowded. So that makes it doesn't do anything with the logistics of getting there, but once you're in, it makes it super convenient because you can get whatever you want done. So for instance, like Animal Kingdom, evenings is better at Animal Kingdom. For Disney Springs, mornings is better at Disney Springs. It is way less crowded in the morning. So if we need to pick up something at World of Disney, or if we have a dining review or something there, we will make it for earlier in the day. So the convenience of getting there, parking, and then just physically maneuvering within the space is a lot more conducive to whatever we are doing, and is a lot more convenient for sure.
Hopefully all of those tips helped you, especially if you are planning on making the magical move to Orlando. It is quite fabulous, if I do say so myself.
It is quite fabulous, even though some of it isn't like as convenient as you would like. It's so amazing. It's so amazing.
If you like our videos, you will probably like listening to our podcast as well. We publish that twice weekly on Sundays and Wednesdays, and it's called Addicted to the Mouse, so please check us out.
Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you on the next video.